So for all of you Spider-Man lovers out there, your favorite wall crawler has returned in a new reboot to the old movies. In a way, it's not exactly a sequel, but it's it's basically being brought back into a new story. The whole story changes where Peter Parker, played by Andrew Garfield, is dropped off at his aunt and uncle's house by his parents, but instead of you not really knowing what happens, you kind of don't, but you see them leave, and later in the movie it starts to explain, and Peter starts to try and figure out what happened to his parents. Along with Andrew Garfield, there is also Emma Stone, who plays Gwen Stacy, who is, of course, a person that has been mentioned in many of the Spider-Mans. And she really wasn't mentioned in the older Spider-Man. She was only in the third movie, and she was sort of a side character. But in this movie, she's the full character. She's basically the Mary Jane of the first couple Spider-Man movies. But as they're slowly starting to grow together, he starts to poke around and try and find out what is happening to what happened to his parents that made them leave. This brings him to Oscorp, where, of course, this is where he becomes Spider-Man. He's snooping around and gets bit by a spider. But the transformation is a little different than the first movie. However, he makes his costume, and of course the costume looks completely different. You can look at the pictures. Costume looks way different, and he's not able to create the web himself. He ends up designing the web shooters, which you hear about a lot in the cartoons and you have probably read in comic books and all that. But it's a lot different, but it's also the same Spider-Man that we have always known. Plus, he becomes he doesn't just come out of nowhere and save some damsel in distress and become known. He starts slowly fighting off small crimes, and people start recognizing him, and that causes the police department to sort of hate him. And of course, who is the chief police officer but Gwen Stacy's father, Captain Stacy, who was also mentioned in the third Spider-Man, the older ones with Tobey Maguire. But this also relates into his parents', I guess you could say demise, because they're not really mentioned, but he goes to Oscorp, and he ends up talking to Dr. Connors, who, again, is another character that people might know, and was in all the other Spider-Man movies as well. Dr. Connors is a scientist at Oscorp. He had lost his arm, and he had been studying on genes, and mostly the genes of a lizard, where lizards can regrow their tail. He wanted to create some kind of medicine that could make soldiers or people that have lost their limbs grow them back. Now, obviously, he's the prime test subject since he had lost his arm, and in testing the final gene that he thought was correct, it went completely wrong, and he becomes the enemy of this movie, the Lizard. Now, of course, everybody knows about the Lizard, and this creates a big plot into the movie, and also, not only does Peter have to fight off the Lizard, but he also has to fight off the police. So, in my opinion, this movie, I think it's going to be a lot better than the other Spider-Man movies, just because I didn't really like the other Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire, he's a good actor, but he just didn't really play the Spider-Man role how I thought it should be. In this one, he's more of a shady character. He tries to hide out, but he's still sort of known. And I just think this movie's going to do pretty well. So if you guys want to find out more about it, you can click the link below in the description to go look at my website and go see some pictures, and of course the trailer. And I'll keep you guys posted on anything new about the Spider-Man movies and any other movies. Make sure to subscribe and like and leave a comment on this video.